It's not one big thing, but comprises many tiny fragments.
And what colour was the smoke?
It was black.
Black smoke.
Black smoke.
What was as soon as you went into the compartment, well, let me just ask you this, could you feel any heat at that point, as soon as the front door was opened?
Absolutely none.
None. And what did that tell you about the fire?
It told me that I was actually at that stage nowhere near it.
What?
The truth is not usually one big thing, but comprises many tiny fragments.
And what colour was the smoke?
It was black.
Black smoke.
Black smoke.
What was as soon as you went into the compartment, well, let me just ask you this, could you feel any heat at that point, as soon as the front door was opened?
Absolutely none.
None. And what did that tell you about the fire?
It told me that I was actually at that stage nowhere near it. But equally a little bit confusing because there was an awful lot of smoke without that heat. Again, I'm going to go by my experience. Generally, when you reach a point when you have that much smoke, you have quite a significantly developed fire somewhere, so that heat will be emitting towards you.
Yes, I see.
There was none.
Okay.
And already, what is going on here?
Could you tell us what happens next after you enter the flat?
So you're immediately assessing for heat, and there was none. I was actually following Charlie. With the aid of the thermal image camera, it was very easy to quickly make the way to the first room.
No real increase in temperature. Just to be clear, that's while you were still in the hall, was it?
So we're still in the hallway. Yeah, absolutely. Visibility had gone to absolute zero. You could not see your hand in front of your face. You could literally put it there on your mask and you still wouldn't be able to see. But there was no heat.
Right. Let's do our best with what we've got.
Okay.
Right. If there's anything you see you want to draw to our attention, please say.
Well, at the time, what's noticeable is that there's no heat. There's no sign of fire.
Right.
I'm confused. I think at one point I almost thought, am I in the right flat?
Okay.
So when that door initially opened,
yes,
what you see on the thermal image camera is not what I can see with my eye. All I can see with my eye, because I'm not holding a thermal image camera at this stage, I'm at the front with the branch,
yes,
is something in the corner.
Right.
At that first opening of the door, something's in the corner.
What was it?
Well, the fire. That's your guess. It's just a gut instinct. There was no heat pushing at me, because normally the heat gives you it will guide you which direction that fire's in, but there was none. There was no heat.
In your statement at page 8, paragraph 2, you mentioned a curtain of flame, which I've just read to you. Could you just describe where it was?
So, I think I need to explain when that door was first opened, when I first pulsed the ceiling to call what is, although there was no hot gases, I assumed there was no hot gases because I could not feel heat.
Right.
It's very hard to explain, but it's still a good practice. Still good practice to cool the gases, but it sounds mad when I'm saying there's no heat.
You didn't have long to see the effect of the water on the heat in the room.
To me, it had no effect, because what was happening is after I initially hit that first hit on that corner, that's when this curtain of flame suddenly went woof. It was suddenly there. I could suddenly see a curtain of flame.
In
no
your
heat.
When you say curtain, why do you say curtain? What's the...
Normally when you have a fire inside a room, this fire was this curtain of flame was under force. It was raging. It was, but it wasn't licking round the ceiling. It was going up and just neatly disappearing in a straight line.
Right. So under force from which direction?
From down up.
From down up and then disappearing.
Just disappearing.
And then you say, I remember thinking that it can't be gas, as the flame, although forceful, was orange in colour and gas tends to burn with a blue flame. We then entered the room and Charlie opened the branch and said, it's out.
And I'm trying to explain to him exactly what is happening, because this is not normal. There's no heat. and there's a flame in front of me that's raging and just in a really weird rectangular.
Okay.
It was just everything was wrong about it to be a fire within a room. I've attempted to tackle this fire twice and nothing's happening.
Was what you were confronted with at that moment something that you recognised from your experience, or not?
I have never seen anything like it before.
You then say in your statement, as I was looking around and visibility increased, I became confused as the location of the fridge was not where I saw the forceful curtain of flame.
Yeah.
It was more to the right.
Quite quickly, visibility did increase, and I can remember with my eyes starting to see the unit, what was on the sides. And I think the thing I specifically remember was the kettle. And I started looking. I was thinking, right, okay, nothing is began polarisation here. There's no heat damage. What is going on? You know, I don't understand this. I think I'm still mindful. Moments ago, there's a raging curtain of flame. What is happening here? You know, everything is ringing alarm bells. Something's not right.
Then you say, I noticed a single candle-like flame just flickering and dancing in the corner of the room, at the top of the wall by the ceiling above the window opening. The flame was orange in colour. And I thought this was really weird, so I pulsed it with the branch and put it out. And I looked more closely at where this flame had been, and I could see no sign of charring, blistering and bubbling, etc. What did that tell you?
Again, it's just all this is happening really quickly. You're trying to process all this information. It was telling me none of this is making sense, because why is there a little dancing bit of candlelight flame sitting there in the first place? How did it get there? And I'm aware that I'm in a compartment. I'm in a concrete box, effectively. But there's no evidence of any fire travel or there's just no evidence of anything for why that would be there.
How you got onto a counter by the window, just below the window, and he held on to you by your BA straps and dug his hip in while you leant as far out of the window as you could with the branch. Do you remember that?
I could see both columns were alight, both of them were alight, and I needed to attack them both. The one on the left was approximately 5 foot away from me, the one on the right was a lot closer. I attacked them both. I'm having no effect. Water is just bouncing off. It is just literally bouncing off, and I'm thinking, okay, we've got a problem here. I can't put this out. No matter what I tried knocking the panels off, tried getting between perhaps what they were gaps. I don't know whether they're gaps or not. It's just black areas. Tried everything. Nothing was happening. It's just bouncing off. But basically, I'm seeing what looks like sheets of metal, and the fire is. It's just really weird. You can see it's a light underneath, but you'd have these areas of, I'd imagine the joints, and every now and again you'd see a flame and then it would disappear, and you'd see a flame and it would just disappear. At that stage, on the top right hand side, there was an area.
Yes.
And it was like it was split open. It was very odd. It was like something that was punched through it.
And you say, and travelling in an upwards direction.
Yeah.
What was travelling in an upwards direction? The flame.
The flames are definitely travelling up.
Right. Mr. Brown, I've got nothing further for you. Can I say I'm very grateful to you for coming to the inquiry and helping us understand your evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds mad, but I'm saying there's no heat. It's very hard to explain what is going on here, because this is just not normal. Woof. It was suddenly there. I could suddenly see a curtain of flame.
Jade?
Yeah, hello, hi. In the fire, flat 16 Grenfell Tower.
Sorry, a fire where?
Flat 16 Grenfell Tower. In the fridge.
Right, hang on.
Flat 16 Grenfell Tower.
Flat 16, and what's the postcode?
W11-1TG.
W11-1T for Tango.
Yeah, but can you quick, please?
Yeah, would you just, I have to get the address. Okay, Glenn.
Flat 16 Grenfell Tower, W11-1TG.
The fire brigade are on their way. Are you outside?
Yeah, I'm outside.
Yeah, well, the fire engines are on their way. Just tell me how many floors you got there.
It's the fourth floor.
Right, okay.
Quick.
They're on their
It's
way
burning.
already. Yes, I know it's burning, but they are on their way.
Look at that people, man.
Shortly before 1 o'clock on Wednesday morning, an inferno broke out in a tower block in West London.
Oh my God, they're screaming!
At least 58 people were killed in the fire at Grenfell Tower. That number is expected to rise. That night witnessed scenes of unimaginable horror.
It's quite high up, like just above the middle, and she was screaming, "I've got a baby, please help me get out, I can't get out, I'm trapped, I need to save my baby."
As well as those of astonishing bravery.
As I was going downstairs, you had firefighters going up the stairs, brave firefighters going up the stairs.
The Prime Minister has finally announced a full public inquiry.
It's good.
That's going, they need to get up there, that's what's going up.
All blocks gone. Look, at Grenfell Tower at like 1:30 in the morning, fucking hell, fire, and that's getting bigger and bigger. People are gonna die, and I'm scared. Man, you see that shit fall off? Wow. Go! Wow. It's gonna go right to the top of that building, isn't it?
It's gone all the way to the...
And there's innocent lives in there.
At around 2:50 a.m. on the 14th of June. Giving evidence today, she said she'd never seen anything like it and knew straight away it was an unfightable fire.
I was not at any point thinking that we were going to be able to extinguish the fire, and it was how best we were going to be able to try and make efforts to get into the building to rescue as many people as possible.
From the outset, counsel for the inquiry pushed the commissioner.
As you can see, this is an unprecedented incident. In my 29 years of being a firefighter, I have never ever seen anything of this scale. You must recognise that the firefighters are working very hard at the moment, so I'll give you a brief press statement, and I cannot take questions at the moment. We will supply further information later. This is a major fire that has affected all floors of this 24-storey building from the second floor upwards. I have over 200 of my firefighters and officers attending this incident, with 40 fire engines and a range of specialist vehicles, including 14 fire rescue units in attendance. Based on the level of resource that was needed at this fire, we declared this a major incident very early this morning. London Fire Brigade's control room took multiple calls to this incident, with the first call coming in at 6 minutes to 1 o'clock. Our first fire engines were on scene in under 6 minutes. Crews wearing breathing apparatus and extended duration breathing apparatus have been working in extremely challenging and very difficult conditions.
It soon became apparent that the radios weren't working and we had lost all communication. The higher up we went in the tower, it felt like you were very much alone. You couldn't radio back to let people know where you were, what you were doing. if you had done the job you had been sent up there to do.
Do you think that more lives could have been saved?
I think there would have been more chance of getting people out, yeah. If we'd had proper radio communications, yeah, there was a chance we could have got a few more people out. Knowing how advanced communications and the communication systems that we've got out there, the fact we are not given the best equipment to save people's lives, that does make me angry.
Straight to that breaking story in West London. The London Fire Brigade right now are dealing with a serious fire in a tower block in West London.
Trying to make sense of a breaking news story as it happens, amid the real-time swirl of events,
anybody who is speaking to the building, they need to ring 999,
is often hard. As one of the reporters who covered this dreadful tragedy, amid all the heartbreaking action, one small but extraordinary detail stuck in my mind.
A baby was apparently caught by a member of the public after being dropped from Grenfell Tower as it was engulfed with flames. This is according to an eyewitness.
I haven't been able to get the story of the Grenfell baby out of my mind since. Did it happen? Could it happen? I suppose also as a parent, I ask myself, what must it be like to be so desperate that you're willing to trust your children to the luck of a stranger's arms?
I set out to find out exactly what happened, to nail down the facts. The first thing to do is to try to trace the story back to its source. Where did it come from? Who are the eyewitnesses? The earliest source we can find for the story is this woman, Samira Lamrani. At 10:08 a.m. on the 14th of June, Ryan Hooper of the Press Association tweeted this clip of her.
A woman was gesturing like she was about to throw her baby. And if somebody could catch the baby, and somebody did, and a member of the public, a gentleman, ran forward and managed to grab the baby.
Her quotes then spread to the Telegraph, to the Evening Standard, to the Daily Star, the Mail Online, the Guardian and the Independent. By the next day, her comments were in newspapers in the UK and all over the world. When we contacted her as part of this investigation, she declined to be interviewed, saying, "My memory of that night is fading, I don't want to talk about it." This man also appeared in many newspapers. The initial source of the story was in The Sun on the 16th of June, 2 days after the fire. In the story, he's named Pat. He supposedly caught a 4-year-old thrown from the 5th floor. But we've traced him. His name is actually Oluwaseun Talabi, and he's actually holding his own daughter. They had both escaped from the 14th floor down the stairs. Another primary source is the architect and broadcaster George Clark. He lives near Grenfell, and he was woken by the noise of the fire.
Mainly the top bit, and then it took maybe an hour, and then like most of the building was on fire. But I'm not gonna lie, one thing I wanted to say though, this thing that they're all saying about, oh, it might have been a fridge that exploded or something like that. I don't know about all of that, but what I do know is they did regeneration last year to that building that they're talking about doing to all of these buildings. They did it to that building only, £10 million they're talking about, and put these shoddy plastic things on there that set up a light because they want more reasons to knock these blocks down. There's two options. They could either regenerate the blocks or they could knock them down. And after that, I'm not so sure that was totally an accident. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You could pause me there, but I'm not gonna lie. The whole situation that's going on in this area, the way that they don't want us, the way that they don't want us here, and they put those rich man's blocks over there, and then they tell certain man in Frinstead they can't even go into that section. That's outrageous. I can't lie. The way that they treat man in here is terrible, innit? So I understand. I can't even take the belief out of my mind that that wasn't just an accident. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. I think it's fucked, and I think. But we don't know. It's so early. Yeah, we don't know. But you're talking about the regeneration that happened last year to apparently make these blocks better, and then these fires have never happened. I've lived here my entire life. My mum's lived here a very long time, and these kind of things have never ever happened in this area. Like, I don't know what they spent £10 million on. But the lifts in this block and all the blocks around, they only cost 60 grand to fix, and they still never replaced them throughout the time I've lived here. So 10 million for that? No, they didn't. No. I'm not really fucking with the government right now. That's all I'm saying.